Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda.
Hare Krishna, there you are. And we are here at Bhagavad-gita. Here it is, because Bhagavad-gita as it is our Bhagavad-gita translation and commentary by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada, and my name is Labanga Latika. So we're reading the 6th chapter here. It's all about yoga. And yoga, of course, the deeper meaning of yoga is connecting to the Supreme. And we practice Bhakti Yoga. This chapter is about the more traditional form of yoga, where you see a yogi sitting down, yoga postures, meditation, so on. Arjuna has just been asking some questions. This process of controlling the mind that is very essential when you practice yoga appears to be very difficult. Krishna gives some instructions that it's actually something that can be done. And here Arjuna has a follow-up question. I will read text 37. Arjuna vacha ayati shraddhayo peto yogat chalita manasaha aprapya yoga sangsiddhing kam gating Krishna gachati. Arjuna said, O Krishna, what is the destination of the unsuccessful transcendentalist who in the beginning takes to the process of self-realization with faith, but who later desists due to worldly mindedness and thus does not attain perfection in mysticism? So this is not only Arjuna's question. This question comes up. What happens? You see the Hare Krishna movement. Of course, not everybody is now dressed in saffron, standing on a street corner singing, but still, it's a big step. You take to Krishna consciousness, maybe you give up something outside, maybe you give up some work or some education or some... We don't advocate giving up family members, but sometimes the family members give us up. It happens, because it's a big step, it's a big difference. And when we say worldly mindedness, if somebody who is very much into appearances, that sort of prestige, that sort of thing, Hare Krishna may not come so high on their list. So it happens, and Arjuna asked this question, because what if you start something, you give up the material life, you start your spiritual life, and you can't maintain it? Then what happens? Are you lost? Purport. The path of self-realization or mysticism is described in the Bhagavad-gita. The basic principle of self-realization is knowledge that the living entity is not this material body, but that he is different from it, and that his happiness is in eternal life, bliss and knowledge. These are transcendental, beyond both body and mind. Self-realization is sought by the path of knowledge, by practice of the eightfold system, or by Bhakti Yoga. In each of these processes, one has to realize the constitutional position of the living entity, his relationship with God, and the activities whereby he can re-establish the lost link and achieve the highest perfectional stage of Krishna consciousness. Following any of the above-mentioned 3 methods, one is sure to reach the supreme goal, sooner or later. This was asserted by the Lord in the 2nd chapter. Even a little endeavor on the transcendental path offers a great hope for deliverance. Out of these 3 methods, the path of Bhakti Yoga is especially suitable for this age, because it is the most direct method of God realization. To be doubly assured, Arjuna is asking Lord Krishna to confirm his former statement. One may sincerely accept the path of self-realization, but the process of cultivation of knowledge and the practice of the eightfold yoga system are generally very difficult for this age. Therefore, despite constant endeavor, one may fail for many reasons. First of all, one may not be sufficiently serious about following the process. To pursue the transcendental path is more or less to declare war on the illusory energy. Consequently, when a person tries to escape the clutches of the illusory energy, she tries to defeat the practitioner by various allurements. A conditioned soul is already allured I don't know if I pronounced that anyway, close to how it should sound. Anyway, I hope it's understandable. A conditioned soul is already allured by the modes of material nature, material energy, and there is every chance of being allured again, even while performing transcendental disciplines. This is called yoga chalita manasa, deviation from the transcendental path. Arjuna is inquisitive to know the result of deviation from the path of self-realization. So, yes, Prabhupada covers quite some things. Of course, the first understanding is, what is this self-realization? And this path by which we can realize the constitutional position of the living entity, our relationship to God. So that's not just a little bit of, self-help, feel better about yourself. It is peeling away the layers of illusion. And the yoga processes mentioned here are the path of knowledge, jnana yoga, the practice of the eightfold system, this jnana yoga, or bhakti yoga. And Krishna is assuring us, if you take some steps in this process, they stay with you. So we have that. I mean, Prabhupada started a movement in the middle of the 60s in America among the hippies mostly. He used to say that the hippies are our best customers. They didn't stay hippies, of course, because this path is very much, a path of a very clean, pure life. So that whole scene of experimenting with drugs, free sex, and so on, that didn't, that was not sustainable. So those who took up this process of bhakti yoga, you can't really call them hippies anymore, but that was the background. And even today, we don't have hippies, but we have a culture, a society, where we are very deeply steeped in this cultural identification. We notice it now when we look around in the world and we see people moving from country to country. And there are these clashes because our cultural identification is different from somebody else's cultural identification, and it's difficult to overcome. What to speak of the process of bhakti yoga? That's also why Prabhupada is not calling bhakti yoga a religion, because it is not a religion. It is a spiritual process of connecting to the Supreme. Religion is also spiritual in as much that it's the definition of religion is following God's instruction. But religion is often very much culturally conditioned, in a sense. Your culture and your religion, they are almost the same. But within religion, the focus is God. So therefore, they sometimes ask that if religion is good and if religion takes you to God, why do we have to have so many religions? Because we have so many cultures. And for somebody in one culture, Krishna has given them a religion that they can easily access. So it will be kind of a natural step in their life to take up religion. And in a different place, you will have a different religion. But the goal of all the religions are to come closer to God. And we see that in all the religions, and they are so different. But you always find these special saints and transcendentalists who have come to that level where they just approach God. And when they see everybody else as God's... I don't know how to say it in English. What's his name? Franciscus from Assisi. He would speak to the brother bird and brother tree and see them all as children of God, just like himself. Whereas sometimes within the same religion, you would have someone who would be very sectarian. We are good and they are bad. About other people, what to speak of the birds and the trees. They were not seen as very spiritual at all. But bhakti yoga means that connection to God. It's beyond these different positions in society, in the countries, in the cultures, all of that. All the material differences, they are temporary, but the soul's connection to Krishna, to God, that is eternal. We just have to find it. And then the process of religion helps us, but within the religion, it's the element of bhakti that really connects us. So even when someone takes to that process, there may be obstacles. We see that. I mean, I've been around this movement for over 30 years, and some people come, and then sometimes they leave. And then sometimes you meet them after, and they're saying, oh yeah, we were there, we used to do all the things, but I can't remember why. Because somehow or another, that material energy, the material attractions, the material identification cover them again. But it's never gone, it's always there, it stays in the heart. So Krishna was assuring Arjuna once, and he will assure him again. Yes, spoiler. A couple of verses. Come back for the next episode, we will see it. I will read the next verse, text 38. Kachinno bhaya vibhrashtaschina brahmiva nashyati apratishto mahabaho vimudho brahmanapatihi. O mighty armed Arjuna, does not such a man who is bewildered from the path of transcendence fall away from both spiritual and material success and perish like a riven cloud with no position in any sphere? And that is a doubt. And that, like painting that picture, it's such a sad picture. You gave up your material life and you failed in your spiritual life. And then what's there? So that's of course Arjuna's position when he's asking this, because Krishna is asking him to take up spiritual life. Because in the beginning, Arjuna wanted to renounce his material life. He didn't want to be a warrior, he didn't want to be a kshatriya, he didn't want to get in that battlefield. And then Krishna tells him, no, you can't do that, because it's not going to work. But then later on here, Krishna speaks about a yogi who controls the mind and gives up all the material attachment. And then Arjuna thinks, so what if you started and you can't finish it? Then what? Purport. There are two ways to progress. Those who are materialists have no interest in transcendence. Therefore, they are more interested in material advancement by economic development or in promotion to the higher planets by appropriate work. When one takes to the path of transcendence, one has to cease all material activities and sacrifice all forms of so-called material happiness. If the aspiring transcendentalist fails, then he apparently loses both ways. In other words, he can enjoy neither material happiness nor spiritual success. He has no position. He is like a riven cloud. A cloud in the sky sometimes deviates from a small cloud and joins a big one. But it cannot join a big one. But if it cannot join a big one, then it's blown away by the wind and becomes a non-entity in the vast sky. The Brahmana Pati is the path of transcendental realization through knowing oneself to be spiritual in essence, part and parcel of the Supreme Lord, who is manifested as Brahman, Paramatma and Bhagavan. Lord Sri Krishna is the fullest manifestation of the Supreme Absolute Truth, and therefore one who is surrendered to the Supreme Person is a successful transcendentalist. To reach this goal of life through Brahman and Paramatma realization takes many, many births, bahunam janmanam ante. Therefore, the supermost path of transcendental realization is Bhakti Yoga or Krishna consciousness, the direct methods. Yes. So here we get some encouragement. Arjuna has this doubt, and I don't know, but this expression of desolation, it resonates with me. You know, sometimes, what do they say? The long dark night of the soul. Sometimes we're in that place where we really can't see the hope. The material side, we're already disillusioned. Somehow, I don't know. Somehow it's very easy to be disillusioned. You look around, absurd politicians. You look at the wars. You look at the problems and the material world. And you look at sometimes, you know, it's like a state of mind. I can also appreciate people. You can see the friendship, you can see the love, you can see the families, you can see the good things. But then sometimes you look at it from this disillusioned place, where you see how it doesn't matter how good it is, because they will all die. And some of it isn't even good. There is so much facades, so much falseness, so much, you know, this personal ambition where you're supposed to be doing something good for others. You get caught in I pick up things in the news. Like they apparently had a chief of police in Finland and his job was to deal with drugs, narcotics, and then he got involved with some of the criminals, and he was police in the day and making money off the drugs at night. I mean, what is that? And there's so much of that. This is Kali Yuga, the age of quarrel and hypocrisy. So we see how it's very difficult to be harmoniously working together. There will always be conflicts, some big and some small. But, even the small ones, it's like when you eat something nice. We have sweet rice. You boil rice and sugar and milk, and when it's cooled down, it's very tasty. But if there are just small grains of sand in it, they are very small, but they destroy the whole experience. So there are small quarrels, there are big nations and continents quarreling. And there's also this hypocrisy, trying to maintain a facade of something else. And sometimes when you get into that vision, then you look at this world and you don't see any meaning, you don't see anywhere to go from it. So that's Arjuna's question. Of course, Krishna will encourage him, and here Prabhupada doesn't wait for the next verse. He immediately goes in to assure us that spiritual life is always possible. And even if we come to the point where we may not be entirely immediately successful, there's also no loss. Any material gain, whatever I gain, an education, money, family, special interests that you develop, and then you die. And next life you start, naked, with nothing, unable to speak or walk or even focus your eyes. And you have to start from the beginning. And you can't say, last life I had, had so much money. Can we transfer it to my bank account? No, it doesn't work like that. But whatever spiritual progress you've made, it's there. It's in your heart. And the next time you activate your spiritual life, you start from the point where you left off. So that is Krishna's encouragement. And it's also a very good question, because it's just like whatever you want to invest in. If you buy a car and you heard that this model has been pulled back from the market because the motors explode. I don't know. I don't know if motors explode, but it sometimes happens. Then when you know that, you're not going to buy that one. So here Arjuna is asking, if I take to this spiritual life, will the motor explode? Or is it worth investing in? So yes, Prabhupada is already encouraging us. And if you come back for the next installment, Krishna will encourage us also. Thank you very much. So yes, we speak this Bhagavad-gita. And of course, if you'd like to have your own Bhagavad-gita, there are links in the little box below where you can find Bhagavad-gita. Also where you can find a Krishna temple. And I would be very happy if you have any questions. Please leave them below, or even subscribe. That's possible. Thank you so much. Hare Krishna.
Thank you for watching. We aim for updates every Tuesday and Friday. Please come back. If you have any questions or comments, please leave them down there. We also have some links and information for you. And there is, of course, the subscribe button. Thank you. Hare Krishna.
I'm a Hare Krishna, and I approve this message. Subscribe.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama.